All right, guys, tonight, pages 474 to 477, last reading for this chapter. Please make sure you guys do questions 29 through 33. Got a question on 24. A couple people have already asked this, so I reworded it a little bit. So, what is one of the only nations to oppose it, that being the Kellogg-Briand Pact? And then I put it even in parentheses to help you even figure it out a little bit better. They actually refused to sign it and did not attend the conference. So that's question 24. So hopefully that'll help you guys out. So last time we left off, we started talking about industrial improvements. This is going to drive us into what we are today, a consumer economy. So this will drive us into being a consumer economy. This type of economy is driven by the buying and selling of goods that are purchased by the public. This is the buying and selling of goods that are purchased by the public. Oil and gas offer a more efficient means of powering vehicles. Diesel offers a fuel that allows bigger vehicles like boats and trains to carry even larger loads. Henry Ford's innovation in the car industry is not that he built the first car. A lot of people put that, and a lot of people fail to understand that that was not his innovation. The Germans had created the first car. What he did was he used the assembly line to assemble his car to cut down on the cost. Instead of the workers moving to the car will now move to the workers. The workers will only assemble one part of the automobile and thus become an expert at that part. The model will be assembled in half the time and will lead to prices dropping drastically. Scientific management will be introduced by a gentleman by the name of Frederick Taylor. Under this idea, the management system the price of cars dropping. I'm sorry, I jumped right through that. The prices of cars will be dropping because of the cuts in the time to assemble it. I'm sorry. Back to Frederick Taylor. So Frederick Taylor has this idea of a management system that measures all movement and time that it would take to do a specific job. This will lead then to a standard that can be managed by a guy by the name of manager. That's the new job for these people, called managers. The company can then determine a certain performance of each worker and create, the company can then determine a certain performance of each worker based on the standards established by that measurement. To get every minute of work from all of his workers, Ford will offer or create the following. He will offer an 8-hour day, something that had never been done in private industry, 8 hours. And he will offer $5 per day. The standard in industry at this time had only been $3 per day. So working 8 hours and you get paid $5 for that 8 hours of work. All right? That's a lot of money for the workers. So they are very highly motivated. They will also be highly skilled, white-collar jobs that will open. So once again, we've already talked about that you'll have managers, you'll have clerks, you'll have salespeople. All these individuals will have to be better educated and trained in order to do the work. By the way, we mentioned the collar. These kind of workers are called white-collar workers, as opposed to people who work, which are called blue-collar workers. In the times of the 1920s, you didn't have a permanent collar put into your shirts. What you did was, from time to time, you would buy a new collar for your shirt. Now, the idea is that a worker that was working in greasy and dirty conditions would not have a white collar because obviously that would get nasty and dirty. Instead, they get a blue collar so that that color would kind of disguise all the dirt and grime that the worker would get, as opposed to a white collar like a manager or, say, a salesperson, because they're not getting their hands dirty nor are they getting their clothes dirty. So that's where we came up with the idea of blue collar and white collar workers. So that's I mentioned the white collar workers for that second dash here, the highly skilled workers. The impact of the automobile on the American culture. All right, I'm going to take a couple minutes as I go through each of these to just tell you a little bit about these, because if you just write down the letter and that's all you say, I won't give you full credit. So you need to kind of pay attention now for the next few minutes here. So, letter A, autos reduce public transportation. They reduce public transportation. Now, so what does that mean? What's the impact? Well, first of all, public transportation were things like trains and subways, buses even were starting to pop up now. But the problem is, of course, they require a schedule, right? You got to get to that schedule. You got to be there when they get there. And then if you miss that schedule, you're out of luck. With a car, your own schedule is your own schedule. You can do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it. Problem with other public transportation that's solved by this car. Public transportation only goes to certain places. If you're not heading to that place, you're out of luck. You can't go there. With a car, you can go wherever you want. Wherever that car can drive, you can go to that place. Public transportation, if the workers decide to go on strike and they don't want to work, they walk off the job, you have no transportation. With public transportation, that's the problem. With private transportation, hey, you don't have to worry about someone not driving you because you drive yourself, right? So that was a big one. No need for public transportation. But, by the way, there is a problem, because while governments wanted to build public transportation that brought people into the city, right? Private transportation, cars, wanted surfaces to take them out of the city. The problem is, you're going to need a road for that. And if you guys live in Michigan and you know anything about Michigan, the conversation that keeps on coming back is, well, we got to pay for these roads, we got to pay for these roads. It's because, once again, public transportation takes you into the cities. This is where the government has control. They don't like the fact that you get in a car and drive out to these suburbs because you have control. First point, letter A. Letter B, roads are construction and maintained to allow cars to drive to various locations. Now, the subpoint under this is that farmers are being raided by these city dwellers. They're upset that these roads are being built because as these roads are being built, people are coming by and they're stealing the food that they're growing. Not so cool. In addition, people that are driving in their cars leave trash along the sides of the roads. Not so cool, especially if that trash is ending up in your yard. So definitely some unhappy things with these roads. And these roads are going to be expensive to build, and they're going to cost a lot of money. And so, of course, there's another point there. Suburbs are developed, and these are places that are separate from the city, right? And what they're going to do is, over time, they're going to start drawing business away from the cities. Businesses are going to pack their bags and start coming out to the suburbs. People that live in the city, that paid the city taxes, are going to pack their bags and go out to the suburbs where it's cheaper to live than it is in the city. And like I said just now, it is cheaper to live in the suburbs than it is to live in the city. Living in the city is very expensive to live in. Vacations change. Vacations change. No longer is a vacation just walking outside the city, literally on a trolley, taking a trolley about a mile outside of the city. Vacations now are often you getting in your car with a tank of gas and just driving somewhere, anywhere. And so now, of course, as you start doing that, now we've got to start having places for you to go if you're just driving. You're going to have a restaurant called a diner. And so diners are going to start opening up. You got to have a place to stay and sleep now. And so now we're going to start getting these things called motels. Not hotels, motels. Places where you can park your car and then you can go into the motel and sleep for the night, right? So vacations are definitely going to change. And there's going to be destination places. Like, for instance, you're going to go to amusement parks now. And so now they will have to have a parking lot so that you and your car can come and visit. Last one, there are problems that develop. There'll be, one is called the mobile bedroom. Yes, teenagers and young adults will be able to drive cars. Unfortunately, they will be able to now leave without the supervision of parents. And so we now start having a lot of problems with kids ending up having babies because of the fact that the car is a convenient thing to be used. There's pollution. Everyone was excited because these cars didn't poop and pee like horses did. And everyone thought no more pollution until they found out that behind the tailpipe came these fumes, and carbon monoxide will now be something out there. Auto accidents. There were no rules for driving a car. So, and by the way, once again, if you could reach the pedals of a car, you could drive. So for instance, my 11-year-old is really tall. She could drive a car at this point in this history. In fact, anybody in my household could drive a car because they could all reach the pedals of the car, right? So people had no idea sometimes of driving. And they would drive on the left side of the road, on the right side of the road. They would drive 20 miles an hour or 5 miles an hour. They would make left turns. There were no turning signals, so they would just all of a sudden turn. And you just had to be ready to stop if they made that turn. Insurance. Now we have to buy insurance on our cars because we know that people can get hurt by these things. And we have traffic jams. So vacations and traffic jams are the two spots that we're facing. Okay, last thing for today. Getting people to buy goods. The first one is mass advertising. Magazines, newspapers, billboards, and radio announcements. All of these will send a mass amount of information out to the public. One ad might be in a magazine. It could also be on a billboard, and it might even be in a radio announcement now. People are going to use a variety of ways to communicate what they think you should be buying, which is their stuff. There will be techniques in advertising. Playing on people's fears, for instance. Telling people they're going to get old and they need this stuff to fix them so they don't look so old. We'll also talk about people buying into hopes. Like, for instance, the Mustang was built for guys that couldn't get girls. So the idea was, we're going to get this fast and beautiful looking car so you can get yourself a girl. Hopes, like I said, slogans and jingles, songs that keep on playing around in your head and you just can't get rid of them. There'll be chain stores that'll be created. Stores that you just don't find in one place, like a J.C. Penney's, now can be found at almost every single corner of the world because these stores will be offered. They'll offer the same thing and the same stuff in every store. So when you go to one store, you'll find the same stuff. So if you're at a different place, no worries. All that same stuff that you want to buy will be in that same store. We also have what are called door-to-door salespeople. People will actually come to your door, knock on your door, and sell you goods that they think you should buy. You'll also have the opportunity of buying on credit. Stores will start allowing regular customers now to buy and pay for stuff on installments. That means in small payments. Interest will be added to pay for that service, so you got to pay interest, and this will expand a company's sales and ensure future sales. All right, guys. So very quickly, pages 474 to 477 is what you need to read. Do questions 29 through 33. Have yourselves a good day. Oh, one last thing. On Friday, I need your study guide by 4 p.m., not 6. So, if you are behind, in other words, you haven't done anything since 20, and you're still not doing anything since 20, and you're just assuming you'll just do everything on Friday, 4 o'clock is when I need it now, guys. I need time to grade these. So by 4 o'clock, they need to be done. So if you're not on question 33 tonight, you need to get there. All right? So if you're behind and you've been behind, you need to get caught up now. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'll see you. Bye.